In lease, there are two parties. One is the owner of the asset, that is the lessor, who grants the right to use to the other person, that is lessee, in return of the periodic installments. But lessee, who has been granted the right to use, how will he evaluate that whether taking an asset on lease is beneficial to him or not? So what he is going to consider, that is what lessee is going to consider. Now talking about this lessee, he wants to purchase this machinery. For example, it is worth 50 million. So is he asking us that he should purchase machine A or machine B? No, he has already decided which machine he is going to purchase. So what he is asking? He is asking the best financing source, the best financing alternative, so that he can use the asset for its business. So there are two options. The first one is to borrow and buy this asset, and the other option is the lease. So let's first discuss that what is the borrow and buy option. Now lessee wants to purchase this asset. So what he is going to do, he will first borrow the money from the bank, and then he will use this proceeds to purchase this asset. So what will happen is, in this case, he will have to pay the interest plus installments to the bank as per the installments that they have decided, that may be yearly, annually, or quarterly or monthly. So he will have to pay the interest plus installments for the loan he has taken. So this interest and installments will be paid every year as per the life of the asset or as per his loan tenure. So first thing that he will consider is the present value of this payment. Now the second point, this lessee, when borrowing and buying, he is the owner of the asset. So this asset that he has purchased will be reflected in the books of assets, books of accounts, and this asset, on this asset he can claim depreciation, and due to this depreciation he gets an advantage. So he can claim the depreciation tax shield. So the second factor that he will consider is the present value of depreciation tax shield. It is an inflow for him. Now the third factor, the interest. The interest that he has paid is an expense that is debited to the statement of profit and loss account. So this interest will also yield in the tax advantage. So another inflow in the form of interest tax shield. So the third factor is that he is going to consider is the present value of the interest tax shield. The fourth and the last factor, this asset has a salvage value. That is, whenever he is going to sell this asset, he will receive some money. So he will consider the fourth thing, another inflow, that is present value of salvage. So these are the four factors when lessee opting for the option of borrowing and buying an asset, that is when he is the owner of the asset. Now remember that we are calculating the cost of borrowing. So the cost of borrowing, this is outflow, that is installment and interest, and the others are benefit like interest tax shield, depreciation tax shield, and salvage. So 1 outflow and 3 inflow in case of cost of borrowing. So if someone needs to calculate the cost, what will be the cost? The present value of interest plus principal minus the other 3 inflows, that is DTS, ITS, and salvage value, the present value of all these 3, and this gives us the cost of borrowing. The second option is taking asset on lease. Now when the lessee takes the asset on lease, he is not the owner of the asset. He just gets the right to use of an asset in return of the periodic installments. So now we need to calculate the cost of lease. He is only getting the right to use, and what he is paying is the lease rental. So he is going to consider the present value of lease rental, and this lease rental will be debited to the statement of profit and loss account. So expense, and on this expense he will get an advantage of tax shield, that is the savings due to this lease rental payment. So when we are talking about cost of lease, the first is the lease rental, that is the outflow, plus minus the inflow, that is the savings. So what is the lease will result in? That is the present value of lease rental, that is the outflow, and the present value of tax shield on lease rental. So one outflow and one inflow. So the fight is between these two options: the cost of borrowing and buying an asset and the cost of leasing, where you only get the right to use. So there you need to consider all these four factors: one outflow, three inflow, and the other one outflow and one inflow. So the fight is between both of them, and who is going to win? That person will win whose cost is lower, that is lower the better. For example, evaluating the cost through both these options, borrowing and buying is costing me around 5 million and lease is costing around 5.1 million. So borrowing and buying is better, that is lower the cost. In which option we will prefer that option? So that was all about